Hey family, welcome back to the Brandon Brews channel. I am Brandon, and today we got something to talk about. As you see in the title, we're just going to jump into it. We're not going to prolong this video, and I promise I'm going to try to make this short, nice, and sweet. And we're not going to, it's not going to be a long video. So you see the title. I'm not at Martin Transport anymore. They laid me off, and we're going to talk about it. And then I'm going to give you a full review of working there and how it was. And if you guys are thinking about going there, you'll know what to expect. And this is just my point of view. This is what happened to me. So you can take it with a grain of salt, but just know, like, could happen to you. So yeah, let's jump into it. All right, so in my last video, I talked about, hey, there's some trouble going on. There's trouble under the bridge. There's things going on. So I knew there was something going on. So let's backtrack a little bit. If you've been following my trucking journey, just to give you some insight, I started at Martin in March March of 2024. And what I actually did, I was on a dedicated local account. So I was home daily, and I'm worked maybe 10 hours a day. So, and then I want to say this also. I don't know the other side of Martin. I don't know what regional is like. I don't know what over the road is like. I don't know what the intermodal is like. I only did local dedicated for this account in Chicago, and it was dry van. That's it. So I can't give you information on how it is when it comes to their dispatchers giving you a pre-plan, because we never had pre-plans. I never had a pre-plan at Martin because the account was it was like a specialty account, and so it didn't operate that way. Every single day I knew where I was going. I only went to 2 or 3 places every single day. So there wasn't a lot, like, because there are local positions that will pre-plan you and have you going here, have you going there. You may drive there, you may drive here, you may load there, I only did dropping hooks, never did live loads. So it was that type of situation. Now I did maybe I've done maybe 4 outside loads of the account, and then I had like a pre-plan, but it wasn't really even a pre-plan because it was just a drop and hook. It would be like a load at the drop yard. We need you to take this to the customer. And I think I did 1 live unload, but the live unload was so quick. I was there less than 30 minutes. So that's the only experience I have outside of local dedicated with Mark. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I don't want you to be like saying that Brandon said that this is how it is or whatever. I'm like, no, this is my experience from the local dedicated account. All right, so let's talk about, so in all, come on, Jax, I'm recording. In all, I've been there. I did 8 months there. I completed 8 months there. Did I want to leave? No, I did not want to leave. Did I like it there? Yeah, I liked it. I liked it up until like the last 2 months because it just started like crumbling, and I'm like, what's going on or whatever. All right, so we're gonna jump back to the last video. I'm just gonna reiterate a little few things. So 2 months ago, being on this account, it was cool. Money was there, and I'm like, cool. I'm making the most money I've made in trucking. Like, I was averaging weekly grossing between 1900 to 2300. I think my biggest check was like 2400. I grossed in 1 week. So I was just like, dang. So I developed a strategy on how to do that, how to like maximize those dollars, doing this, doing that, because there were things in place that you could do. So the first time I actually noticed that something was going on was when they cut our money. They started cutting our money and didn't tell us. they start not paying us for empty trailers. Now, I heard it rumored through coworkers, they said that that was happening, but officially they never came out and said that. They never sent the email, never said, hey, we got to talk to you because we're cutting this or whatever. We got to do this. Nobody said nothing. So that was the first red flag when I was there. I'm just like, why y'all can't communicate that? Why do I need to hear this through coworkers? That was very weird to me that they couldn't come and tell us like, hey, we got to cut the pay on this. You start seeing it on your check because you're working all week. And then when you get your check, you're like, wait, I'm missing something. Y'all didn't pay me for the empties I pulled from here to there. And so what drivers started doing, I remember going to the plant one day and there was like no empties because people was bobtailing. People were bobtailing because they're like, well, I'm not getting paid to pull an empty trailer. We got paid for it before and now we're not. So I was just like, dang. So okay, I'm like, this how y'all work? This how y'all run? So that was just like, okay. So even then, there were ways that I maneuvered around it to kind of make that money up. If you guys watch my video on being a yard jockey, I was spotting like twice a week, sometimes 3 days. They kept asking me like every other day, hey, can you spot for a couple hours? Can you spot for a couple hours? And so I did that. And that's how I was able to kind of keep that portion of my checks. So let me say this. I think it was around September when I didn't take time off, but my birthday just happens to be around Labor Day, September 4th. And so when I came back, I believe there were like 4 or 5 people that they fired, and then they hired like 4 or 5 people. And so I got back and I'm seeing new faces. I'm driving past. I'm like, who is that? Who is that? I'm like, I'm gone for 3 days. 3 days. And y'all got new drivers. Like, who is this? I remember my dispatcher was like, hey, we got a new driver. She's on her way. She should have been here. But when she get here, can you show her how to do this and show her how to do that? And I'm like, yeah, cool, whatever, I can. So these 4 or 5 new people, they got hired on. And if you've been following, you know I told you on this account with Martin, I had a $1,400 guarantee weekly. So I can do the most minimum work and I'll still get $1,400. So this is what I didn't know. I heard this through the grapevine and, coworkers talking and gossiping. And I heard those 4 or 5 group of people, they only could make 1,400. So they could run as many loads as I run. They can run because I would do like 3, 4 loads a day, 3, 4 loads a day, 3, 4 loads a day. I could do 3, 4 loads a day every single day. And if it was a good day, I don't have any tires messed up, I'm not slowed down, I could easily gross like 2,000, 2,100 a week just by doing 2, 3 loads a day. And then the weekend we had premium pay, so loads paid out more. So I would run it up on the weekend. I would get home I would go to work at 1 and I would get back at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. because that was when I really made the money. But I heard these 4 or 5 people could only make 1,400. And all the extra stuff that we got paid for, they were not getting paid for. And I was just like, what? Like, huh? I remember one worker, they had asked her, it was like, can you shuttle this trailer around the corner? And she was like, I really don't want to do that. Because at the point, I didn't know, like we were getting paid for every single thing we do. If they wanted us to shuttle a trailer, we got paid for that. If they wanted us to check on something, I got paid for it. Like I literally would get paid for everything. And so these 4 or 5 people couldn't get paid. It was like their checks was just 1,400. And depending on what insurance plan you got, deductions, or what you got coming out of your check, I heard that they was like, yeah, my check 800, my check 700. All the time I've been at Martin, I never got a check under $1,000. Never had that happen to me. And I'm just like, dang, like they doing the same stuff I do. And so I felt bad and we all start feeling bad. But and then we just knew it was just, yeah, okay. So they probably trying to do that to us. And then I heard some people say, no, you guys are grandfathered in. And somebody tried to tell me, nah, everybody after you, y'all okay. And I'm just like, some is wrong, some is fishy, some is, Yeah, something's going on. So that happened. And so like a month later, after these new people, that's when we hear that they lost the contract. And so I'm gonna go on record saying how I found out. I found out that this job was ending through a coworker. Martin did not tell me. No one called me. No one emailed. No one sent a text or whatever. I found out through a coworker, and I thought he was just playing. Until I had to go pick up a trailer that was not a Martin trailer, that was a different company's trailer. That's when I was like, I called dispatch and I'm like, so I guess the rumors are true. And she was like, what rumors? I'm like, we lost the contract. And she was like, yeah, nobody called you and told you. I'm like, no, ain't nobody called me and told me nothing. And so she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. So then she calls me and tells me all of this. She was like, yeah, and we don't know when the end date is. We don't know nothing. And so I'm just like, this is how y'all communicate? Like, I wasn't mad at them losing the contract. To this day, I'm not mad. It's business. It happens. But the way they maneuvered this thing, the way they went about it is just weird. To this day, it's still weird. So what happened was after that, these guys, they've been with the company way longer than me. So they got PTO. They got like 2-3 weeks full of PTO. And what did? They started taking PTO. Because, I mean, that's what I would have did. I did it a few days because I wanted to run it out. But not only that, I started coming to work and didn't know what to do. I would come to work and follow the procedures of what we've been doing. I couldn't find a load. Any trailer I was looking for, I couldn't find it. And then as the weeks progressed, the new company that had the contract, their drivers started coming in. And we like looking at each other kind of, they looking at me like, what you doing here? Oh, we took your job. And I'm just like, it was a little weird. It was like they was mean mugging me. And then I'm just like, what y'all mean mugging me for? Like, y'all don't know what y'all in for because this ain't peaches and cream. And y'all probably ain't gonna be here that long. Because like no job is perfect. And that account was not perfect. And I'm not talking about for Martin, but I'm talking about for the customer. It was just not perfect because we had to go through when production was running. If production was down, that affected us. That means we ain't working, that we're not moving. And they will keep changing stuff up and down, up and down. Now we want y'all to do this. Now we want y'all to do this. Now we want you to do this. So it was a lot. So it's not like straightforward in your face. It's not like that. So going back to seeing all other trucks, like we seen other trucks come in. They had OTR, owner operators, coming in doing loads. And then we come in and we're like, well, where are the loads? Like, why? Like, so it's like they phased us out as if we didn't exist anymore. And I was just like, dang. And then what I didn't like, what Martin was doing, they wasn't saying nothing. I asked both of my dispatchers, I said, okay, so what's the update? What's the plan? What is the last day? The last day was supposed to be in the middle of November. And then he said, oh, it could be earlier or it could be later. And I'm just like, look, we are grown adults. We don't have time for you to play with our livelihood like that. We got people that got kids. You got people that got homes, that got families, bills, and just all around just grown folk. Like you can't juggle somebody like that. And so that left a really bad taste in my mouth. And I was just like, you know what? I think it's time to get up out of here. And so I started applying for other jobs while I still worked there. And this is my thing, I even ran this by my therapist. And she was like, well, we don't want to make assumptions, but I think this one assumption is true. The reason why Mark didn't say a word to us is because they probably wanted us to quit. And if we quit on our own, they ain't got to pay us unemployment. Because you're talking about a good 30 some workers, probably 35 at most, 31, 32 workers that you dragged your foot on. At one point, they told the people who are spotters to stay at home because the other company had their spotter team come in, and we're just like, what? Like, okay. So they're sitting at home, but they still had to pay them because we got a guarantee, right? So, make a long story short, we, what day was it? The 31st? No, it was the 30th. My fleet manager texted me and said, hey, call me when you get a chance, because that was Thursday. I was due to come back in. my work week starts on Thursday to Monday, and I'm off Tuesday and Wednesday. So she called me and she was like, hey, come in. I mean, she texted me and said, call me. And then I called her, and she told me, she said, hey, just let you know, it's the end. And there's no more work. And it was a pleasure working with you. And I wish you well. And HR will be reaching out. That's what they did. And then so that was Thursday. So I was waiting. I'm like, okay, I'll wait for HR because I've never talked to HR with Martin ever. Even when I signed on and all, it was just the orientation coordinator that did all my work. So I never had to deal with HR. So Thursday went away. Then Friday came. So I'm looking at the phone because I'm just like, yeah, I want to see what y'all gonna say. Like, do we have are you guys throwing some money at us or what? So it gets to be about 3-4 o'clock. And I know I'm like, well, if Indianapolis is an hour ahead and I don't know who's supposed to be calling me, if it's somebody from Indianapolis or if it's somebody in Wisconsin. So I pick up the phone and I call HR myself. So I called them and I say, hey, I'm with the dedicated account and somebody was supposed to call me. So she connects me to somebody else. They didn't answer the phone. I left a voicemail. And then within 5 minutes, they called me back. So the HR rep calls me. We're on the phone. And she was like, yeah, you're on the dedicated account. And she sounds very nervous and very timid. And I'm just like, okay, just go and tell me what you got to tell me. Like, it ain't that deep. Like, I already know I don't have a job here anymore. And so, let me say this. Our fleet manager, because I had two. One fleet manager did ask if I was interested in being regional or OTR. And so going back to the video I told you guys, like local driving is over. I was in debate about that. I was just like, do I want to go back over the road? Like, I literally had to really, really think about that. Like, do I really want to go back to living on a truck? So somebody in the comments on my other video, I think you do work for Martin and you actually said regional is 14 days out and 2 days at home. Now, my fleet manager said I could come home every week, but I don't even know how true that is because, like, they would have got me in that truck and said, no, 14 days. And I would have been like, nah, take this truck back because that's not what I want to do. I would want to come home every week. But I don't know if that was something they were trying to get us to do because we were local and we could do that. I don't know. But so I thought about it. Like, I really was thinking about it. I talked to my parents about it. And I was just trying to see and feel like, and I even prayed about it. I was like, do I? Like, I really enjoy the balance of being out of the truck and not having trucking being my entire life. Like, I really do like driving, but when you are over the road, that's all you can do. Like, that's all. Like, when you're not driving, you still in the truck. When you're driving, you in the truck. And I'm like, there are so many other things I want to do with my life outside of the truck. And so when I'm local gives me the ability to do that. Like, I can keep up my house and do things outside of that, go to the gym, like go to church, like, but when you over the road, it's like, hey, you in this truck. And I was kind of over that. I didn't want to do that again. So I ruled it out. I said, no, I don't want to go back over the road. That means I'm gonna find something local. So fast forward, going back to the HR call. We're on the HR call and she is taking forever to say what she got to say. So she's asking, I see you shared the truck. I'm like, yeah, I shared the truck. I'm like, yeah, I think he drove the truck down there actually that day. And she's like, okay, did you have anything you needed to return to us? I'm like, no. And she was like, do you still have the keys? I'm like, yeah. And she was like, well, could you mail those to us? I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And I'm just listening like, okay, go on. Then she was like, well, yeah, your benefits will end tonight. I'm like, okay. I'm like, dang, that sucks that they end right now. You could at least say, they're going to end in 2 weeks, give you a week or something. But then she was like, you can apply and sign up for Cobra and all of that. I'm just like, okay. And then she was like, well, did they tell you about like anything else you could do here? Regional OTR? I'm like, yeah, they told me, but I wasn't interested. That's what I told her. She was like, okay. So I don't know, like if I'm like, now there's about 30 some people you had to talk to. I'm like, this should have been like a quick spiel. And she was just like, it was a weird call, a very weird call. It sounded so weird that it was just like, yeah, y'all up to something. Y'all know y'all did us wrong. Or it just felt weird. And I was just like, okay, like I ain't never been laid off in my life. I've never got fired from a job, but I'm just like if you in HR and it's what you do, like go on, do what you gotta do. Like I don't know if she was like nervous to the point to think like how I was gonna react or respond or whatever. But she said, what did she say? So she finally said, okay, well, we're gonna be laying you off. And I'm like, okay. And then she was like, there's going to be an official letter that comes to you in the mail. You'll get that in the mail for your records and all of that. And then she finally says, I wish you well. And that's it. And I'm just like, why did it take like 10 minutes for you to do that? This could have been like a 2-minute call. And I said, thank you. And that's it. Like, I was good. At that point, I was just like, all right, cool, whatever. So to sum that up, and to go back to like how my experience was working at Martin, I learned something really big and valuable. And like I think I even told my mom this before when I got there. I said, I'm not married to Martin. I'm not married to any of these jobs and any of these companies. I'm married to myself because I got to take care of myself. And so what really the biggest lesson I learned is like these companies could give a about you. And the way they did that, I was just like, I don't want to be in y'all truck and can't talk to y'all and communicate with y'all and y'all leave me somewhere. And then it's just like, because that communication style was just like whack. It was like whack for the way they handled us, and we're asking questions. And then you like, how would you feel coming to work and every day there's something changed and different and no one knows anything or they're not saying anything? And it was very stressful because I'm just like, I got 80,000 pounds between my hands, and you need to have a clear mind. And then sometimes you sit here thinking like, why am I doing this? Like, is this even worth it? So even the mental part was just like weird. And it's because your company couldn't say, hey, you know what? We're sorry this is happening, but we're gonna stop this account and be done November 1st. So at least we know, like, all right, November 1st, we good, cool. All right, let me find something else while I'm doing this, or maybe I should jump ship. But you already know they didn't do that because they wanted us to quit already. If they quit, then we got to worry about paying them unemployment. And what I told myself, I said, nah, I'm not going out like that. I said, y'all want to act funny and act a fool like that? I'm going to act a fool with you. I said, y'all going to have to will me out of here. And so that's why they kept was like, do you sure you don't want to go? No, I don't want to go regional. I don't. And so tell me what y'all got to say. You laying me off? Thank you. Cool. Let me hit up the unemployment line. So, so that's where we at now. It sucks. It really sucks. Like I think I told you all in the other video, I wasn't trying to job hop. I didn't want to do that. But I mean, you have no other choice. So, but let me say this. I'm not jobless. I start a job next week and your boy is still local. So I thank God for that, because the minute I start feeling some yeah, this is sooner than later. That's when I started was like, yeah, let me look around. Let me look around. And so I looked around and I found something that was different. I won't be pulling dry van, y'all. I'll be pulling something else. I'll say that for another video, but I'm excited because it's going to be a learning curve, but I'll still be local. I'll still be home every day, and I'll have my own truck. No more slip seating. It'll be a day cab, but no more slip seating. Don't have to worry about that. And so I think I'm really going to have fun with this. And yeah, so that was my experience at Martin. Do I think Martin is a good company? I think they are. Every company have their hiccups and all of that. But I feel like this too. I feel like, of course, sometimes it is true that one bad apple can rotten the whole thing, because I feel like whoever they had over this dedicated account, like they put the whole company, they make the whole company look like it's just whatever is bad. Because I'm like, they've been in business since 1946, and I'm like, this how y'all do business? It's like y'all didn't even want to keep us as drivers. Y'all rather go hire a brand new driver who don't know the company, who y'all got to train and pull together. Y'all rather do that than try to be like, you know what? Let's see if we can reason with them. Let's see if we can get some of them to be regional and we can kind of sweeten the deal. It wasn't even nothing like that. So that's when I say the biggest lesson I learned is like, these companies do not care about you. So don't be out here advocating for them, saying, come here. Like, nah, you get your feelings hurt real quick and they won't even care. And to even go back to the HR rep, I talked to one of my coworkers and he actually seen her in person. And he said the interaction was weird. And I didn't even tell him that I talked to her. He told me when he was in front of her, she was acting very weird and she was acting as if she didn't know what was going on. And so that lets me know, like, something's up. Like, shame on you, Martin, for that. Like, I expected way better than that. Like, I'm sure if she had to fire us, oh yeah, she would have been on her game. She would have been that call would have went. I wouldn't have been able to say nothing. And she did ask. She said if I had any questions, and at that point, I was just over. I'm just like, hey, I'm good, cool. I just wanted to hear y'all say, hey, we laying you off, so I can go on. Because what I didn't want to do is quit, and then I got to explain that to a different company why I quit versus them laying me off. That sounds better and looks better to say, yeah, there was no more work. They lost the contract. They lost the account. So that's why I did that. All right, so I said I wasn't gonna make this video long, but it's like 26 minutes, and I just had to get that off my chest and explain it. In the future for trucking, like I said, I do have a new job that I'm starting next week, and when I get acclimated with them, when I get in there, I'll let you guys know how that is and what that is, because you guys are gonna be like, "Oh dang, you done switched up big time," because I think your boy be in the uniform. Yeah, so keep rocking with me, y'all. Thank you so much for all the love and all of that. And thank you so much for watching. And be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Your boy's trying to meet the 3,000 before 2025. That's one of my goals. So I'm going to be way more consistent now that I've got a little time. I got some time. I've had maybe about 2 weeks off, so I'm able to kind of catch up on some videos and do some stuff that I wasn't normally able to do while I was working. But thank you so much for watching. You all be blessed.